I'll take a little sip here real quick. So if you watch Chris, his channel is CSAW Boots. He actually posted these on a video with his, I think he had 3 pairs of cowboy boots, or I think he called them Western boots. That's where I saw these first. I had looked at the place who sells this, which is a place out of, I think it's out of Texas. I think it's mainly out of Houston, but they do have a location in Dallas, I think, but it's called Pinto Ranch. You may have seen their site. This is a boot made for that, whatever, Western shop by Rios of Mercedes, as you can tell from the box back there. But it seems to be sort of like a special kind of makeup for them, if you will. Like, you know, this particular setup with this boot last, this pattern, this leather, the sole, etc. It's kind of unique if you watch this video, because I think the biggest thing that makes it jump out to me is the Dainite sole. You really don't see this on cowboy boots, Western boots. This is, to me, highly abnormal for them. They typically have their own stuff, so that's kind of weird. I would also say the shape kind of trips me out, because this reminds me a lot, this toe shape, of Wesco's MP or 1395 or whatever, the Mr. Lou MP last, the one that has the higher arch. Kind of trips me out that this last looks so similar. Kind of makes me nervous, actually. Did they use the same last? I don't think it's quite as pointy, but I definitely have a little bit of toe push, which is crazy because these are actually a 12D and I'm an 11.5D Brannock, and I've removed the foam insole that Rios gives because with it was kind of too tight. And I kind of at the moment have a really thin insole that I got from Planet Cowboy with another pair of Rios I bought from them that are an 11.5 double E, and those actually fit well. So I thought a 12D would be good, but this is a pointy last, and it's not a problem, but it's, you know, it's not the best. It's serviceable, and it's worth it for how cool this looks, but it actually reminds me of a pair of snip toe cowboy boots I have from Kimosabi Grit, and they're very pointed, and they're also a 12D, and there's a bit of toe push, but I kind of tolerate it because I love how they look, and they're already long because of the, you know, the snip toe really goes out far, so it's like a 12.5 would just feel like, I don't know, I'd feel like some clown or something. You know, I guess I have my own feet problems with the way my big toes like to splay out. But anyway, back to the boots. These are, as I said, Rios of Mercedes. You can see that's what you want there. Made in Texas. Is kind of peak as an American. I know there's a lot of stuff made in Leon, Mexico, but as an American, rather have it made in Texas. And they just really make an amazing boot. This is what they call Wheatbuck Waxy Kudu. Sorry, I just read it off the back of the box. It's interesting because I feel like other companies have sold a Wheatbuck CF Stead suede, like a, you know, I don't know if it's that they called that. Maybe that was a Waxy Commander. So I'm not sure if this is the same stuff. And then with Western boots, you know, they line them, so I'm not sure if the thickness is from the lining or the, you know, the outer leather, or, you know, obviously could be both. It's hard to tell. But whatever is here, the summation of all these layers is very thick. It's a really cool leather. If you look at this one, I've only worn them one day. And when I got them, they were, you know, I would say like new. You know, the guy said he wore them around the house, but the soles literally had not a single scratch on them. So he must have worn them on carpet. I've worn them outside today, so, you know, there's going to be some little minor scuffs on them. But the soles looked mint. And the footbed, the foam footbed that has a leather top, had some slight marks from like black socks. You could see where the toes were and whatnot. But I mean, these are just basically brand new for over $200 off the price that Pinto Ranch sells. So that was too good of a deal to pass up. And, you know, I was pretty sure 12D would fit. Honestly, I was worried Could 12D be maybe slightly long, even though I do have other cowboy boots that 12D was the right size. I just still kind of shy away from anything other than sneakers in a 12. Sneakers, I always need a 12 or sometimes 12 and a half. But these are not too big at all. They're in fact snug, and I think I might even pull out these thin, they're kind of like a foam leather hybrid, but they're really thin. So these came with another pair of boots from, you can see, Planet Cowboy. And the foam, I guess, has a little bit of thickness, but as soon as you step on it, it squishes flat. And then this leather is super thin. So this whole thing is drastically thinner than the ones that came inside these. I'll leave that out maybe to show you guys those in a second. But without them, it actually is good. And if I wear a slightly, like a more of a boot sock, I would actually pull these out to wear these with a boot sock, because they're already snug with this and a thin sock. But like, they're definitely not too big. If anything, they, it's almost like I wonder if they even made a 12 and a half. Maybe they do make 12 and a halves for some reason in cowboy boots that might have been slightly more comfortable, but then kind of feel long, and there'd be, a little bit of extra space at the front because it's such a pointy toe. Either way, this to me is kind of like the best size compromise. The makeup's amazing, as I said. I guess maybe, I think Chris said the same thing in his video, but, I'm not necessarily big on the busy designs that I know are kind of like the standard on cowboy boots. This is much more my style, where it's just plain, or maybe some really tiny minor stitching you can see here. But I like that. I do kind of enjoy the, what do they call it, the toe bugs and whatnot. And I don't know if they call those little horizontal stitch things they do on cowboy boots, if they call that also a toe bug. But I kind of maybe like it without it more. I guess I can enjoy the toe bug for what it is. It's kind of neat, and I really thought it was cool on that Packer from Nick's I had. But I guess if I really had to choose, plain is kind of more my jam. It's just not loud. So the kind of, I guess, simplicity of this makeup, which is very similar, if you remember in my area at Benchmade boot, the Clanton is the same style, where it like basically has nothing on this, and it's a totally plain toe, and I love that boot. It's a great cowboy boot. This has the same vibe, but is like, way higher level kind of finishing, and Rios just makes that area. And Benchmade boot was incredible for, I think I paid $259, or I think I paid $259, and it was later on sale for $199. So for a $200 to $250 boot, obviously made in Leon, Mexico, not made in USA, that was an amazing boot. But Rios is like a completely different level. This is much more legit stuff. This, I mean, just the little details, everything's just perfect. And this Wheatbuck Kudu is just really cool stuff. Hopefully that comes out well in the video. But this leather has a depth, because it's a rough out, but it's like a really tight nap, I guess is the best way to put it. Rough out is cool. I love rough out, but, generally normal rough out is kind of, the nap's kind of big, and that's kind of cool, and I like rough out for that. This almost is sort of like in between a suede, which, suedes can be kind of just a little bit rougher than a nubuck, but then rough out super rough and nappy. Maybe this is kind of in the middle, where it's a rough out, but it's a really tight nap, and I'm kind of digging it. And I'm sure the spots that get rubbed a lot will kind of nap up a little bit more, but it just looks super cool, and the highs and the lows and these ripples that you're already seeing. This one's not coming out as well as the other one, but there's some rippling here. It's just phenomenal. The sole is actually kind of a neat feature too, because I appreciate cowboy boots with leather soles, but we all know those are going to wear out much faster than a rubber can. It has its benefits of comfort and breathability, but the leather is not going to be as durable. But with a Dainite, I mean, Dainites are freaking bulletproof. I'll probably never resole this boot because I don't wear cowboy boots every day, and Dainites wear hella hard. Like in my experience, they're really tough. And I have it on some Vibergs, and not that I wear any of my boots a ton because I have so many boots and rotate them, but like they look, even after 50 wears, they look like they've, if you wipe them with a wet paper towel, they look new. Like they're just super durable. they don't seem to show heavy wear. The only thing that shows wear on them is those little nubs. So these nubs, as you can imagine, are kind of taking the initial brute force and they start to wear down. But like the main sole is just really tough stuff, and I love that it's a matching Dainite heel. It's not some Nix thing where they give you a Dainite heel with a Vibram sole and some Frankenstein crap. You know, a good boot brand like Rios doesn't do stupid things like that. These are really cool. A little pointy, but they look, you know, the pointier round toe. Not a cowboy boot expert. You hear people say J toe or whatever. I don't know which one this is, but it's kind of its own thing maybe. But it's a little bit pointy, but it looks great. And the comfort is awesome. It's funny, like I love my other pair of Rios in the 11.5 double E with the foam. And, you know, if I took that foam insole that comes with it out, I knew they would be too big. But, you know, it's super comfortable, so why would I do that? So this pair, when I was like, ooh, they're kind of tight, which surprised me, as I said, in a 12. But I'm like, well, maybe I'll just try taking the foam out, even though, like, I kind of really liked it. But oddly enough, this pair, the foam has this weird, like, lump thing here that actually kind of makes them a little odd feeling in the heel. So I was not even actually loving them as much as the other pair. And then I took them out and I was like, you know what, they're better like this. Because I don't have that little weird thing, and then it gives you way more space up front. And all over, you know, the instep doesn't become super tight anymore. And there's a little more toe room. And then I was like, you know, maybe I'll try this. And then it's like kind of like perfect now. So I got this in there with the thin sock for now because it's 100 degrees today. And it's going to be, you know, hot for another few days. But then the temps are starting to fall. And I think maybe the summer might be kind of coming to an end, even though we had a really mild one out here on the West Coast. And I can put a boot sock on and then take this out and just literally walk on the footbed. It has a little leather, not a sock liner, but a leather kind of top over the nails in the back. So it's super comfortable to just walk in them, like a traditional cowboy boot. You just walk on the leather footbed anyway. So I think it'll work great, and they're really comfortable. They're a nice fit. They don't become loose or something when you take out the insole. It just gives more space. I'd almost say, you know, if you run the insole, you got to size these like a sneaker, or even maybe go bigger than your sneaker. Because as I said, most of my sneakers are 12s, but there's been a few brands where I need 12.5. With the foam insert on this, I probably would need 12.5 to make it work. But I could take it out, and then it works fine with my foot. So that's kind of it. Really excited about these. Let me just quickly show you the insides of the box and stuff, just because it's kind of cool. It's not really an unboxing because you're seeing the boot now, but you know, just to kind of see what you get when you buy, you know, a nice pair of Rios boots. So you get a nice big boot box, Rios of Mercedes, handmade in Texas. And then inside the box, so they give you a couple, you know, these like cards you see with some brands. So Rios of Mercedes since 1853. That's pretty old. Oh, actually this is cool. I didn't really look at this up close. That's really cool, man. 18 years with the same company. It's a good brand. That's kind of cool. A little hyping themselves, but hey, if they're a cool brand, a cool boot brand, that's awesome. American boot brand. Either way, you know, this is cool stuff. And then this is what I was talking about. So these are the ones that came in the boots. These are slightly different than the ones on my other Rios in that, I mean, this actually has some branding. This is extra large apparently, but I think they just cut them to fit the different size boots, and it's kind of an interesting how they just cut it off square. Bacterial protection, hygienic. I'm not sure if you can tell who makes these, from like Justin Boots or something. I don't know. There's some common insole makers for boots, but it does have a leather top, decently thick. Honestly, it looks almost not as thick as this one, but it's a decent little leather top. But this is what bothered me. I don't like these see how it bumps out? It's like, it's not that it's scalloped, it's just formed with this, I think to be like a Air, you know, Nike Air, like a spring thing, right? But you really feel it. It's strange feeling. It's not awful, but I didn't really like it. And it was honestly worse feeling on this one than this one. And interesting, if I compare them, I don't know if you can see that on the camera, this hump is definitely bigger. Not significantly, but it's almost like maybe this one is slightly defective. It's like maybe that's why I could feel it. This one, I could feel something that annoyed me. This one, I didn't really notice it. I wonder if they made it too large on this one and screwed up. But it doesn't even matter because with these, and you can see there's a decent amount of thickness of foam, a lot more back here in the heel, but a lot of it's because it cups up on the side. But this is noticeably thicker than this guy that I'm putting. This is a thicker hard foam, so this, if I try to squeeze it, it's not collapsing that much, whereas I showed you guys, look at this stuff, it's super soft, so you can just smash it to nothing. So by going to this that I happen to have on hand, it really kind of gave more foot room in the toe box. You can see this guy's foot actually. So it worked out. I didn't need these. They're comfortable without them, and with this it kind of splits the difference when I want to wear my thin socks when it's warm. So you get that, you get these cool boot bags that I've never seen this before. They're kind of like stockings for Christmas. I don't know if I get the show in the camera, but the front of it comes out for the toe, and then it curves back. You know what, let me move the camera up so you guys can really see this. So you see how it's like a Santa stocking there, where the toe is out here. Never seen that with a boot bag. It's kind of cool because then it's shaped a little bit better, but it actually makes it kind of hard to get the boot out of the bag. But anyway, it's just random, and then it does have a really cool embroidery there. That's not printed, that's stitched into the bag. So, it doesn't really matter, but it's a cool detail. And outside the bag, I mean, that's pretty much it. There's two of them, some Rios parchment paper there, and that's kind of it. But it's kind of a cool experience, you know. I would admit the pair of Rios I bought from Planet Cowboy didn't come with any of this. It came with a Planet Cowboy boot box. No boot bags, no cards, you know, nothing like that. Just kind of the main thing. So maybe that wasn't quite as fancy. But this pair from Pinto, well, I bought them on eBay, as I said, but from Pinto Ranch is the full experience, and it's quite cool. Definitely feel like you're getting your money's worth, at least I guess at this price that I paid. Very happy with them. And yeah, this is the beginning, I think, of the boot season as we make our way out of the summer. So I think some of you guys commented that you're glad to see me not posting loafers. So, you know, until next summer, you'll have to wait on the next pair of loafers. But for now, it's going to be back to boots, I think. Cheers.